Hey everyone, Final here. With the recent release of Kill Team Tomb World, today I'll be showing you some quick and easy Necron Dynasties. I'll be painting the 6 main Necron Dynasties, at least the main ones according to Games Workshop. If you're still undecided on how to paint your Necrons, feel free to watch through and see which one you like the best. I'll add some timestamps in the description below. Now before I get started, I primed all of the Necron warriors with Leadbelcher spray, followed by a Leadbelcher Basecoat. I'm doing this so that I get an even coat to start with. Once the coat of Leadbelcher dries up, we can get going. The first paint scheme that I'll be going through is the Szarekhan Dynasty. I've already made sure that the Leadbelcher coat is nice and even, so I can move straight into applying the Nuln Oil wash. I'll only be applying the wash onto the skeleton or bony areas, like the spine, this exposed leg, the joints, basically anywhere that I consider the skeleton underneath the armor. Once the wash is applied, I'll let that dry for about half an hour or so. Once the Nuln Oil is dry, I'll be going in and doing a dry brush using Leadbelcher. This will help brighten up any of the raised edges for the joints or skeleton. It really doesn't matter if I'm messy here. I'll be painting over that armor soon. Alright, it's not looking clean, but it's brighter than before. Next up, I'll be using Runelord Brass to paint any of the armor and the ribcage. For now, I'll be avoiding the head and these shoulder plates. I'll probably need 2 or 3 thin coats to get some good coverage. I'll also want to let the Runelord Brass dry for about 10 or 15 minutes before applying the next coat. Once the Runelord Brass is dry, I'll be washing all of it with Reikland Flesh Shade. I'm going for a slightly redder finish, something closer to copper, but if you want a more muted, dirty color, you can use Agrax Earthshade instead. At this point, I'll also be washing the shoulders and the head. If you look at the box art, these areas are usually a brighter shade of brass. Once the wash dries, it's starting to look good, but a little muted. I'll be going in and doing a dry brush using Canoptic Alloy. That'll especially help brighten up the edges and details. Once I'm all done with that, I'll be moving on to the Gauss Flare, and starting off with a Baden Black. I'll be aiming for what I think is the casing, but you can paint it however you want. After finishing that up, I'll be doing a light dry brush using Eshin Grey. I'll be aiming once again to brighten up the edges. After finishing with the dry brushing, I'll be going in with Nuln Oil and hitting all of the metal spots that are left over. The only thing I'll be avoiding is that tube hanging off of the flare. After the Nuln Oil dries, I'll be going in with a dry brush using Leadbelcher. Now this part can be as heavy or light as you like. If you go light, you'll really just be brightening up the raised edges. If you go heavy, you'll brighten the whole thing up. Once I'm all done with that, I'll be taking some white scar and painting these, orbs, I guess. Oh, and also the eye. And then I'll be going in with Tesseract Glow. I'm gonna pause here a minute to talk about the Tesseract Glow. For this model, it looks a lot more yellow than it should. It's also a lot thicker than it's supposed to be. Online, people are saying it's because I didn't shake it enough, but I definitely did, with a lot of mixing balls as well. I didn't fix the paint until later, but what I ended up doing was scraping the bottom of the Tesseract Glow. There's a ton of pigment stuck on the bottom of the pot. If you haven't used your Tesseract Glow in a while, you might need to do that as well. And then after the Tesseract Glow, I'll be painting these tubes with Warp Lightning. And that's it, nice and easy. With a little bit of basing, I can call my Szarekhan Necron warrior all done. Now, I'll be going through the paint scheme for the Sautekh Dynasty. I've already primed the model with Leadbelcher spray, and I'll be painting Iron Warriors over that. The Sautekh Dynasty are a darker shade of metal, and Iron Warriors base paint really captures that. I'll be doing a couple of coats, making sure that each one dries completely before moving on to the next. You can see here the difference between Iron Warriors and Leadbelcher. Once everything is dry, I'll be washing the whole model with Nuln Oil. This will darken the model further and add some shading to the joints. After I'm done with the wash, I'll let the model sit for about half an hour. Before I start dry brushing, I'm going to paint a little bit of white scar between the ribs. Most of the model is dark metal, so I want to break up the color a little bit. I'll also paint the eye while I'm here. And here's the result so far. Next I'll be adding Tesseract glow over all of the white scar. The Tesseract glow might look a little weird here, but I gave an explanation during the Szarekhan Dynasty painting part. After the Tesseract glow is dry, I'll be doing a light dry brush using lead belcher. All I'm doing is catching the raised edges and cleaning up any Tesseract glow that spilled over. Here's how everything looks all cleaned up. For the Gauss flare, I'll be starting off with Abaddon Black. Where you paint on the Abaddon Black is up to you. This is just my interpretation of it. After finishing up the Abaddon Black, I'll be doing a light dry brush with Eshin Gray. I just want to give the Abaddon Black some definition. After I'm done with the dry brushing, I'll be washing anything metal with Nuln Oil. Then, after the Nuln Oil dries, I'll be doing a light dry brush using lead belcher. I'm just aiming to brighten up the edges. I'll be pulling out the white scar again to paint these orbs, followed by some more Tesseract glow. Finally, I'll be painting the tube with Warp Lightning. Add in some terrain, and I have one Sautekh Dynasty Necron warrior. Now time for the Mephrit Dynasty. I've already primed this guy with lead belcher, and I've gone through with lead belcher base paint to even out the coat. I'll start off here with a wash using Nuln Oil. I'm aiming for everything except for the head and shoulder armor. That's going to be a different color later. After letting the wash dry, I'll be hitting the model with a lead belcher dry brush. I'm applying a medium pressure here, but you can go lighter for a darker model or heavier for a brighter model. I won't panic if I accidentally hit the head or shoulder. I'll be painting over that later. And here it is, all cleaned up. Now I can move on using Castellan Green. I'll be putting on a few coats on the shoulders and head. After I get the green uniform and clean, I'll wash it all with Coelia Green Shade. It might look a little blue, but trust me on this one. After the green shade dries up, I'll be dry brushing with Lorn Forest. I'm aiming for light pressure just to highlight the edges. Now onto the Gauss flare. I start off painting the orbs and the grooves with white scar. And then the casing with Abaddon Black. Followed by a dry brushing using Eshin Gray. For the metal, I washed it all with Nuln Oil. And then dry brushed using lead belcher. Now for the orange part. I'll admit I had a bit of trouble with this one, since Citadel doesn't have a Tesseract glow equivalent for orange. Other brands do have fluorescent orange, and you can always use those. For Citadel, I ended up going with Gryph-hound Orange. Applying that over the white scar should be decently bright. And then to brighten up the orbs a bit more, I went in with Troll Slayer Orange. And finally for the tubing, I used Magmadroth Flame. And that's my version of a Mephrit Dynasty Necron warrior. I'll add in some terrain to spruce it up a little bit. Now, it's time for the dreaded Novokh Dynasty. Starting off, I already have a nice coat of lead belcher from the spray and a follow-on base coat. I'll go right in with a wash using Nuln Oil. Like the Mephrit, I'll avoid the head and shoulders. Those will be a different color later. After giving the Nuln Oil about 30 minutes to dry, I'll do a light dry brush using lead belcher, mostly to brighten up the edges. After the dry brushing, I'll be going in with Mephiston Red. This will be for the head, shoulders, and chest emblem. As always, I'll need to do a few thin coats. Once I'm happy with the Mephiston red, I'll wash it all with our buddy, Nuln Oil. Followed by a dry brush using Evil Sun's Scarlet. I'll be using a very light pressure for this, since I only want to highlight the edges. As with my other schemes, I'll be going in with Abaddon Black for the Gauss Flare casing. You can pick and choose what parts you paint black and which parts you leave metal. This is just my version. Once I'm happy with the Abaddon Black, I'll be going in with an Eshin Grey dry brush, just enough to give the Abaddon Black some definition. Next, I'll be washing the remaining metallics with Nuln Oil. And after letting it dry, I'll be dry brushing the edges with Lead Belcher. Now for these orbs, I'll be painting them with White Scar. Oh, and also the eyes and chest. Then, I'll be painting over the White Scar with my newly mixed Tesseract Glow. And to wrap it all up, I'll use Warp Lightning on the metal tubing. After some touching up in terrain, we have one Necron warrior from the Novokh Dynasty. Now moving on, I'll be painting the Nephrekh Dynasty. I've already primed it with Lead Belcher spray. I'll be going in with a base coat of Balthazar Gold. I'll need a few thin coats to get some good coverage. The important thing is to make sure each coat is dry before moving on to the next. Otherwise, it'll clump up. Nice and bronze. After I'm all set with the Balthazar Gold, I'll wash the whole model with Agrax Earthshade. The result will be an older, more worn brass color. If you want a brighter copper color, you can go with Reikland Flesh Shade instead. After applying the wash, I'll give it about half an hour to dry up. Here we are, after the wash is dry. Now, I'll be doing a dry brush with Balthazar Gold to blend in some of the tide marks from the Agrax Earthshade. You'll have to play this one by ear. The goal isn't to cover up the tide marks, just to blend them in so they don't look like liver spots. And after the dry brushing cleanup, here's what it looks like. We're not done with dry brushing yet though. Next I'll be doing a lighter dry brush using Liberator Gold. Getting Liberator Gold on the edges will really accent the Balthazar Gold. It's a lot brighter, but the bronze color is still there. Now, everybody knows what's coming next. Abaddon Black for the Gauss Flare casing. Followed by an Eshin Grey dry brush to highlight the edges and give the Abaddon Black some definition. Now's a good time to do some touch-ups with Lead Belcher. After that's all set, I'll be washing the metallics on the Gauss Flare with Nuln Oil. And then hitting them with the Lead Belcher dry brush. Then for these orbs, I'll be painting them with White Scar first. Can't forget about those eyes. And then I'll paint on some nice Tesseract Glow. Followed by Warp Lightning on the tubes. It's all looking good. And once we add some basing, it'll look even better. A Necron warrior from the Nephrekh Dynasty. Now we're coming up on the last one for the video, the Nihilakh Dynasty. I've already sprayed the model with Lead Belcher, as well as coating it with Lead Belcher base paint. I'll be washing the model with Nuln Oil, once again avoiding the head and shoulder armor. I'm also making sure that the Nuln Oil only pools in the recesses. After that, I'll wait about half an hour for everything to dry. Once the Nuln Oil is dry, I'll be doing a light dry brush using Lead Belcher. My goal is to brighten up the raised edges. It's not super shiny, but it's brighter than before. Now, I'll be going in and painting the head and shoulder armor with Retributor armor. It's a nice looking gold paint, but it's a little thin, so I'll need a couple of coats. Like with all metallics, make sure the coat is completely dry before moving on to the next one. Once the Retributor armor is all set, I'll be washing it with Agrax Earthshade. This will give me an older gold look, but if you want something brighter, you can go with Reikland Flesh Shade instead. After the wash dries, I'll be doing a dry brush with Retributor armor. The point here is to blend in the shade with the rest of the gold. Once I'm done with that, I'll be doing a lighter dry brush with Liberator Gold, this time just focusing on the raised edges. With the gold done, I'll be moving on to that blue stripe. I'll be using Sautekh Green. Just take your time and fill in the stripe as you go. Now, normally, there's some sort of stripe on the shoulder as well. I'm really bad at freehanding, so I'll just skip that step. But if you do paint something on the shoulder armor, you can use Sautekh Green for that as well. Here's my result. I had trouble recording it, but I painted the emblem on the chest Sautekh Green as well. Time to paint up the Gauss Flare. I'll be starting with Abaddon Black. As always, you can pick and choose what parts you want black and what parts you want metallic. After finishing the Abaddon Black, I'll be doing a dry brush with Eshin Grey, just on the edges. After that's done, I'll be washing the metallic parts with Nuln Oil. Followed by a Leadbelcher dry brush. For these orbs, I'll be using White Scar. And also on the eyes. Then, I'll paint the Gauss Flare and the eyes with Tesseract Glow. Wrapping up with Warped Lightning on the metallic tubes. And it's basically done. I'll just add in some terrain, and there we go, a Necron warrior from the Nihilakh Dynasty. I'm hoping that at least one of these paint schemes helped you out, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of the Necrons that people are painting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.